Hello, this is Rocco Beatrice, Managing Director for Estate Street Partners, on the subject of Medicaid. Medicaid, implemented in 2005, is very intrusive, very confiscatory. It is one of the most deep-digging law that ever has been passed by Congress. It requires that if you have any assets, it requires that you sell them so that you can pay for your medical expenses. So when you enter the nursing home, the first thing they ask is, do you have any assets? What is the degree of assets? If you decide to apply for Medicaid, you want the government to pay for the nursing home. At $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 per year, any assets that you have are going to be quickly depleted. And if you're married, you're going to leave the wife impoverished. She's not going to have any assets to live on. So what kinds of things can you do? Well, some people take matters in their own hands. They think that by transferring the deed to the house to their children, that they have done some planning. Or they, on a bank account, they put one of the children's names on the bank account. Or all of these imperfections are for the next 5 years. If mom and dad have to go into a nursing home, they're going to be assets. They have to come back because they will not let mom and dad into the nursing home until they pay those assets that somehow were transferred to family members. So what is the best way to plan for Medicaid? Well, best planning is, of course, before the 5 years or before the 60 months. And the best way to do that is through an irrevocable trust with an independent trustee. The assets become part of the trust. They're going to be owned by a third party. The third party is the trust. And as long as the 5 years pass, you no longer own the asset, and therefore Medicaid doesn't apply. Now, what happens if we do the trust today? And 3 years down the road, mom or dad has to go into a nursing home. At that point, you have to make a financial decision. How much assets are in the trust? Let me give you an example. If you got $1 million in the trust, and the payment to the nursing home are, let's say, $10,000 a year, a month. So that's $120,000 per year. Is it best to apply for Medicaid today, 3 years after you started the trust? Or is it better to wait and apply for Medicaid when the 5 years are up? Well, the answer is depending on the assets, but the general answer would be to pay for the 2 succeeding years. So 5 years, 3 years have gone by, you got 2 more years to pay. You pay the 2 years, then you apply for Medicaid. What other methodology can you use? Well, when you apply for Medicaid, they make computations of countable assets. Countable assets are the assets that both spouses own. And they divvy up as to what belongs to her, what belongs to you, what is available to pay for the Medicaid bill. Relatively complex. Certain things are in, certain things are out. The automobile is out, the CD is in, the house is in. But basically, how to avoid this, another way to avoid this, and this is an emergency type situation where, what do? Well, at that point, you can buy a Medicaid-friendly annuity. In most states, it's acceptable. What has to happen, however, under these circumstances is that the state becomes the final remainderman. In other words, the state is going to ultimately get the money. The way that these things are structured, Medicaid-friendly annuities, you need to consult with someone who is knowledgeable. We are knowledgeable in the field. I'm a certified Medicaid planner. For more on this subject, please contact us or visit our website, ultratrust.com.